Hi guys, this is Pierre Gasly and you're listening to Speed City.
You're listening to Speed City F1 on Sirius XM.
Go, Chris Medlin.
Hello, everyone. I've got Nyck De Vries here with me, and he's just explaining in Dutch what went on because, as I mentioned, he was summoned to the stewards, which is the down point. We're going to get out of the way quickly. You were summoned to talk about erratic driving. Can you explain what went on there?
Yeah, I think it should be fine. It was very obvious, actually. Obviously, when the safety car is deployed, you need to respect the delta for 2 laps. And exit turn 2, we were talking about a front right brake issue because I had a very long pedal and the temperatures were through the roof. And I saw my delta dropping, so I was like, "Oh no, I'm illegal here." So I braked, and then I got the message, close the gap to the safety car. So there was just a bit of a miscommunication.
Well, fingers crossed that everyone who's around is hoping that there's no penalty for this one. I don't think even any rivals want a penalty after the drive you just done. I mean, the smile on your face is massive. You must be so proud of yourself today.
I'm just so grateful and happy. I really kind of enjoyed it, which is, rare and difficult because when there is pressure, when there are nerves, it's hard to enjoy the moment. But for some reason I managed to do it. And I'm just thankful for the opportunity. And I'm happy that we grabbed it with both hands because no one can take this away from us. And this was a dream debut.
I mean, when you woke up on Saturday morning, could you even imagine that you then Sunday evening, I mean, talking to us a lot, sorry about that, but with 2 points to your name as an F1 driver?
Not at all. I mean, I left the track with the engineers at Mercedes after my FP1 at like 11 o'clock because I just wanted to get involved how their Friday was, and only went to bed at like midnight. So normally I like to be in bed early, but in hindsight, I would have liked to sleep earlier. But I think it was almost a good thing that there was no time because it doesn't allow you to think and you just have to get on with the job. And that's what we did.
I bet you were thinking a lot on the grid, though. Well, how were the nerves when the lights went out?
I mean, I did 2 practice starts yesterday. I couldn't do any practice starts this morning because we had to change gearboxes. So it was a bit of a mess. I mean, I would have liked to have more time. And it's Nicky's wheel, which has much bigger hands and, a different kind of, hand position than me. But it was kind of good enough. It wasn't great, but it was good enough to maintain position.
Well, I heard that you weren't particularly comfortable with the car either yesterday. I mean, with where the shoulder straps were and the changes had to be made overnight. And then team radio at the end of the race said your shoulders are dead. How are they feeling now?
They are recovering slowly, but when the safety car came out, they just went in spasm. Literally, I couldn't move them. Yeah.
Mate, that sounds very, very tough. I mean, you've got a lot of fans in America. You obviously have tested an IndyCar, but I know your dream is to race in Formula One. And do you think you've shown today that you're worthy of a place on the seat and hope that Williams will give you a full-time ride?
I don't think I'm misplaced here at the grid.
Well, it's certainly not. And well done, Nyck. We hope we see you again next year.
Thank you.
There we go, Nyck De Vries with a big, big smile on his face. And he's nearly talked more than he's driven this weekend because as soon as qualifying ended, obviously that was a good performance. Everyone wanted to speak to him. And now how long are we after the race? An hour? More than an hour? And he's still doing interviews. So, he's done a lot of talking this weekend, but he did some great talking on the track as well.
He is his English is so good. I imagine in addition to his native Dutch, he probably speaks several other languages too. And I am utterly intimidated by people like that.
Yeah, he is very, very smart. You're right. I think I've heard him speaking. He was doing Dutch just before we did that interview. He'd done a little bit of German, I think, as well. He speaks German. I didn't catch it, but there may have been some Italian in his lingo as well. So, a very, very smart guy who's he's gonna do well here if he does get a seat. But we don't have many seats, and we know it's not always done on talent, is it? So, dare I say it as well? I think he's 27, Nyck. He's been waiting a long time for his chance. And as we've been talking about, Colton maybe having a go at 22, some teams will be looking at maybe younger drivers. So I'll tell you, this could have been a huge weekend for him to really force home the issue that he really deserves that ride.
Yeah, and it sounded like he was optimistic though about being summoned to the stewards.
Yeah, I before we started that interview as well, as I said, he was talking to one of the Dutch journalists, so it was all it was off record as such, but he was very relaxed chatting about it. And yeah, with the hand gestures, he was saying the same thing. He seemed very calm and kind of waved it away. So I think more likely than not, there'll probably be a warning or maybe a reprimand just to say, look, that shouldn't happen, but it didn't affect anyone's race. Nobody was losing positions because of it. Nobody was going to find themselves sort of dropping into trouble. It was all behind the safety car where nothing went wrong, essentially. So I think he should be safe on that front. But as I check my emails and walk and talk, there's been nothing in yet.
You know,
I was doing exactly the same thing.
I'm going to say at the age of 27, if all things were equal, and I've got a 22-year-old young man and a 27-year-old man, I tend to think of the frontal cortex development and how the 27-year-old is usually considered a little more stable, a little more mature than a 22-year-old. That might bode well for him.
Well, yeah. I mean, today proves it, doesn't it? Like, he dealt with that pressure so well. I mean, there was so many questions I could have asked him even more, but like you said, like, it was okay with the start. You know, he pulled that off, even though so much was sort of against him and imperfect. But then if you look at the fact that he was running in traffic the whole way through, managing tires, he couldn't burn up his tires because he did the soft medium strategy, which is probably the toughest one to do today. All of that together, he dealt with it calmly and executed it on his debut, even though he knew kind of what was at stake. So that's where you kind of go. I was always expecting at some point it to go wrong. I thought late on he was coming under pressure from Joe, and he may well drop back and get overtaken and lose a place or two. But he could gather himself up and go again, and I think that showed great maturity. So like you say, if you're a Williams and you're not going to get that many opportunities to score points, then it is a more experienced driver that you're probably going to want to have in there to make sure they do take advantage of those opportunities.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.